friend DocHollyHealth here. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about glute workouts, and we're going to be talking about how to program 3-day-a-week glute workout split. You by no means have to do 3 booty workouts a week in order to make gains, but that's just what I'm doing. I'm really hyper focused on gaining season. I'm trying to gain weight. So far so good. I really have a hard time. I'm one of the hard gainers. It takes me a lot of calories and a lot of intention and strategy behind my workouts in order to progress. And that is true for a lot of us, right? We need an intelligent program. So, I mean, I've been in the fitness industry for over 10 years, really since I was 17. I'm about to be 29 in a couple of weeks. Oh, wow. And I'm a doctor of physical therapy. So this stuff is my bread and butter. But lately I've been doing just like hyper focused studying on glute development, a lot of BRET CONTRERA'S stuff, which I followed him for a long time. So basically I'm going to take a few things that I've learned from him, relay it to you, go study his stuff. He is like the core of it. He's like the root of it. But I'm going to be seeing if my workouts kind of matched up properly to what he usually recommends. So what he recommends is something called the rule of thirds for glute development. You want to be doing 1/3 of your exercises, vertical type movements, squats and deadlifts, 1/3 like horizontal type movements like your hip thrust, and 1/3 of your exercises like external rotation or abduction movements like the in-outie machine or like the cable hip abduction. And he recommends about 12 sets of each, 36 sets of glutes total. And then he also uses the rule of thirds for intensity purposes. 1/3 you're going ham, you're going hard, 1/3 is a little bit more moderate, and then 1/3 is a little bit lighter, more like burnout sets. So we're gonna take that piece of knowledge, that just little bit of what I've got, which there's so much more, but that's just what we're going to talk about today. See how I split up my glute workout, and then we're going to rate it at the end. So stick around and I hope you enjoy. I am so ready for this, you guys. Squat day is easily my favorite day of all the leg days. Let me know if you're with me, if you're a barbell squat girl. I kind of do a little bit of a 5-3-1 programming, but also I mix it in with some of the little tips and tricks that BRET CONTRERA'S was talking about. Lately he's been doing PRing with his girls based on how they feel that day. So if you feel like really strong, you might do a PR like with your heavy weight, or if you're not feeling as strong that day, you might choose a weight that you know you can rep it out and just do as many reps as you can. So I wanted to push myself for a PR, so I worked my way up to 185 and just did as many like quality reps as I could. So I got 10, and I'm super happy about that. All the hard work is paying off of me doing 5-3-1 programming and just being patient, not overdoing it, and following a plan to progress. I've worked on my mobility a lot, so my squats look a ton better than they used to. Sometimes you have to take a step back in order to go forward, and I really have done this for the squat. I'm focused on the mind-muscle connection and actually recruiting my glutes, hamstring, and all of those lower body muscles. When I'm squatting, you're going to work all of them, of course, but now I can really feel my glutes, which I love. Then I went on to the leg press. Sometimes I do single leg press, but today I was feeling just going heavy with 2 legs. So I was kind of experimenting how much weight that I could do. So I worked my way up to 320. I prefer this horizontal one than the sled leg press. I feel it more in my butt. A lot of these workouts I find I just experiment with how do I feel it? Like, do I feel this in my glutes? How might I change the exercise a little bit in order to do so? So I'm super present. Like on this leg press, you can see my feet are really high. They're almost at the top of it. You can't really tell, but my knees are externally rotating out, and I'm working on getting that mind-muscle connection to my butt. How many times can I say mind-muscle connection? We will find out, but I think it's made a huge difference, and there's evidence that shows that it's true. Then Bulgarian split squats is, you can kind of see, is more of like my push day, but I'm making these more glute oriented because I'm leaning forward. I have that hinge forward, which is going to put more of a stretch on the glutes. You're loading them in flexion at the bottom of the movement, and I'm going as deep as I possibly can, keeping my core tight and making sure that every rep is counting. I did a little bit higher rep for these, have 20 pounds in both of my hands. I find if I go too heavy, then I feel everything working more like quad than glute, so I kind of find a happy medium. Especially because now that was my third exercise, so I don't need to be going as heavy as possible. It's more of like a moderate weight for me. Then I finished with a moderate weight for me for the hip thrust and just cranked out 3 by 10. Doing the scoop method, I'm keeping my gaze forward the entire time, moving from my sternum down, pushing through my heels and just kind of scooping my butt up, getting the posterior pelvic tilt at the top, massively squeezing my butt as hard as I can to make sure I stay connected. And I have a little pause at the top. I did speed it up for the second half of this video, which I'm doing a lot, so it saves time. So I got 6 sets of vertical, 6 sets horizontal, and 0 of abduction external rotation for this workout, which is not too bad. The vertical being the squat and the Bulgarian split squat, the horizontal being the hip thrust and the leg press, since I'm pushing it horizontally. On to leg day number 2, where we focused on the deadlift. So I'm going to do that first, and I didn't say, but I do a solid 5 to 10 minute dynamic warm up before all of these, and you can see how I start with a little bit of a lighter weight and I increase the weight as I go. I did 4 sets of the deadlift, 1 set at 135, and then the next 3 sets I'm going to bump it up to 185 and do 3 by 5. Since I'm going heavy on the remainder of the sets, my rest intervals are closer to 3 minutes. I've been doing that a lot lately, and it's helping me get good quality sets instead of just rushing through and trying to get as many exercises done as I can like I used to do, and this has helped me a lot. I set my hips back. I'm gazing at the floor throughout to keep an elongated neck, keeping my lats engaged, core tight, so I have a sturdy upper body and my hips can really do the work, and I don't feel it in my joints because I'm so connected to my body. That's what's made a huge difference for me for the deadlift lately. I freaking love it. And then, you know, we got to do the barbell hip thrust. We worked it up to a heavier weight today, still in that 8 to 10 rep range. We worked it up all the way to 275 by the end of it, and you know your girl's resting 2 to 3 minutes between these. And see how slow I'm going, keeping that gaze forward. At the top, my knees are relatively stacked over my ankles. My knees are rotating out. I like a slight toe out angle, and I like to go super slow so I make sure I'm getting the full lockout at the top and the full depth at the bottom. I think I used to do these poorly, where I would just try to do a lot of weight in as many reps as I could, and I would just kind of do them sloppily. So being present and having intention to work the right muscles in your workout, like I am telling you, it makes such a big deal. I tell my clients this all the time. Focus on the movement, be present. Every rep is purposeful. Pretend like every rep is building for you. BRET CONTRERA'S does say that hip thrust isn't as fatiguing to like the entire system as like maybe your squat and your deadlift, so you really can put this in your program 3 days a week if that's something that you want to do. I am super focused on growing the glutes right now, so I'm all about it. And I used to use the machine, but lately I've been feeling the barbell just way more than the machine that we have at our gym. So once again, experiment with what you feel the most. And this is my second movement, so it's okay the first 2 movements to push it. Go hard. By the end of it, like my glutes are really tired. They're burning, they're fatigued. And I'm trying not to overdo it either, because like I said, I'm doing it 3 days a week. But I have a heavier day this week. So this is more of like the 8 to 10 rep range, heavy slash moderate load here. So gotta love it. Do your hip thrust, ladies. Then the lying leg curl, we did 3 sets of 15. I've been feeling these better lately. I'm happy about that. I put my feet close together. That has helped me feel my hamstrings more and trying to go that full range of motion. So here's it double time, keeping the lower core engaged so your hips aren't popping off too much. And yeah, make sure you don't get your ego too involved, but you're finding a weight that pushes you, but you keep the form and the quality of the movement. I just learned about the single leg hip abduction. I just have always done them with both my legs, but I like doing one at a time. That way you can just focus on one leg, and maybe like if you have imbalances side to side, like my left leg I believe was harder than my right. So it was good that I did one leg at a time, because we're never perfectly symmetrical, right? We're humans. We always have one side that's a little bit stronger, but I like the forward lean. It puts those hip rotators on more of a stretch, so you'll feel it more. The other leg is firmly planted on the floor, core is engaged. Yeah, you know the drill. Set up your posture, set up your alignment, make sure you're present. And then I've been focusing on stronger calves lately. I never used to work out my calves. I didn't see the point. And then I realized, well, first I started having ankle pain, and I didn't realize it's because my calves were really weak. And now that I've been doing calf work, I realize how much better your legs look with strong calves. So big fan of working out the calves. Yes, so this one we did 4 sets of vertical with the deadlift, horizontal we did with the leg curl and the hip thrust, and then we did the abduction machine. All right. Okie dokie, third and final leg day of the week. This time our priority was the hip thrust. So we're starting with the hip thrust. This is going to be our heaviest movement. It has been a minute since I put 3 plates on each side, so it felt good to move this weight. I felt strong. And one of the reasons why I'm also going really heavy this week, it's because it's the first half of my cycle, and the first half of your menstrual cycle, you tend to have more energy and to feel stronger, which I definitely did. So I don't always go to my full heaviest weight, but this week I did. There's a plan and a method to that as well, which we can get more into. But for now, we'll just talk about, hey, push yourself with the energy that you have that day. So we did 3 sets of 6. Again, I rested 2 to 3 minutes in between, and then I did the barbell RDL, making sure you're bringing your butt back. Think of it as more of like your butt going forward and back than just bending over. Have a slight soft bend to your knees and rotate them out. If I were to have bent my knees a little bit more, I might have felt my glutes more. I really felt this in my hamstrings, even into the next day. So yeah, 3 sets of 8 on those. Then I went straight into the cable hip abduction machine. So I got my abduction movement in today. I feel it when I kick out to 45 degrees. So kind of feel it out for yourself, what angle you feel like the outer hip the most. You'll feel it on the standing leg and the working leg. And I'm using the machine for a little bit of balance. I'm not so focused on having to maintain balance for this, but I'm just kicking out. Either way is correct. This, you don't want to go too heavy where everything is just kind of sloppy. Make sure you do it right. Then this isn't really counted in the glute exercises because you don't work them at all with the leg extension, but your girl also wants nice quads. So I did 3 sets of 15 on this, pausing at the end. You can tell by the look on my face that it was burning. Burned so good. So that was my day today. 4 exercises, very simple. 3 sets of the RDL for vertical, 3 sets of the hip thrust for horizontal, and 3 sets of the abduction. To wrap up, it looks like we did all right in terms of volume and in terms of intensity. We did 35 sets total of the glutes this week, 13 sets vertical, 16 sets horizontal, and 6 sets external rotation and abduction, right? I really am prioritizing the hip thrust, putting it in every workout, and then making my first lift like my main heavy focus, resting properly, putting intention, putting mind muscle connection, doing all of these things for the purpose of, over time, if I repeat these and continue to do them and continue to progress and follow a program that is pretty basic, it doesn't get crazy doing a million exercises or doing, 1,000 supersets. It's mostly just focus on the quality of the exercise, the workout at hand, and getting better at it. If this is boring to you, then you might want to think about what your goals are, because this is the stuff that matters and will produce results, especially for long-limbed, lanky people like me. But really, for all of us, following a plan, you're going to get results fastest, the most efficiently, and make those gains. So let me know what you learned. Let me know what you have questions on, if this is helping you to kind of plan out your glute workout. I really hope it does, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye, my friend. Subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to like this video.